Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Eight Letters Live, where we feature books by self publishing authors. Our guest for tonight grew up in Sydney, Australia, but is now based in Manila, Philippines. Currently, she is finishing high school and plans to take up business management as her course in the university. Always a romantic, our guest would write love letters during class, which eventually led to her passion for writing a romance novel. She finally published this book which we are featuring tonight, which is a story that she holds close to her heart, accomplishing a dream that she has had for several years now. If you can't find her biking, exercising, or on the basketball court, you can find her snuggled up in bed, reading a romance novel or watching a rom com. Our book for tonight is It Was a Pleasure to Be Yours, Arabella Brown, written by the very young and I would say energetic Marga Monserrate. Hello, Marga. Marga, come on in. Marga, are you there? Knock, knock. Okay, I think there's an issue in the connection, maybe. Okay, let's try again. Marga Monserrate, are you there? Marga. You know the thing about virtual book launches. It looks like a seance. Okay, Marga, can you please I mean how does this work? Can you be here? Okay. I think someone needs to admit you. Okay. Hello. Calling I do not have the control. Yes, someone needs to let you in. Okay. Shika, are you there? Shika. Okay. All
Hi,
right, there. Thank you. Wow.
finally. Hello.
Okay. Let's do that again. Okay, again, everyone, please welcome Marga Monserrate, the author of
Hello,
It Was a Pleasure to
everyone.
Be Yours, Arabella Brown. Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us. I mean, thanks for giving us a chance to publish your book. Okay, now let's dive in. How did the idea for your novel come about?
Well, I actually wrote a love letter a while back, and I was very proud of that letter that a few months later I reread it. And then I was thinking, what kaya is the life of the characters in this letter outside of this letter? So a lot of ideas came to mind, and then eventually the ideas became too heavy, so I wrote them down, and I started with the first chapter. And then when I got to the third chapter, I really liked the story, so I told myself, I'm just gonna finish the story, and then everything just flew from there. And yeah, that's basically how the idea started. It was because of like one romance letter that like ignited the whole book. Yeah.
Meaning to say, did it really plan on publishing a novel? Okay, just like
No, it
sprouted from
didn't.
the love letter. Now, I
Yeah.
want to know, like, why? What do you love writing love letters? I mean, who's the? Is it like you're imagining a character or somebody else writing that love letter?
Well, a lot of the times there's no motive behind the letter. When I just feel like writing something or letting my emotions out, I'll just let it out in a letter. So it really depends on my mood, actually, who I write the letters
Mhm.
for. But it can be for anyone.
This is the first time I've heard of somebody like, whose hobby is to write love letters, and then from there, uh, the whole concept of a novel began. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, usually writers would just like it would start with a concept, but not an actual letter or a hobby. Yeah, that's really nice, you know. And another interesting thing about you is that you are in high school. right? So
Yes, I
how did
am.
you manage to write a full length novel? I mean, people like us, I mean, we are professionals already, and I don't know, some of us couldn't even finish a book, myself included. So how did you do it?
Well, when I write, I don't think of writing as work or as a task I have to finish. I like writing, so it comes from like my passion. So I enjoy writing during my free time. I think it's been a strength that I can balance my school life and my personal life, and I think writing falls under my personal life more. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever I feel like writing, sorry to say, but even in like my classes, I'll just write whenever I feel like writing. So
It's
it
okay.
was fun. It was fun to write actually. Like starting young. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't too challenging, or yeah, wasn't too time consuming.
I really admire people who start young. I mean, if you can pen something like this at a young age, I mean, what can you do when you get to our age? You know what I mean? What's the word count for your novel?
It's around 53,000 words po.
53. It's really a full
Yeah.
length novel. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness. What's your I know that I should be asking this towards the end of the interview, but um like what is your average word count in on a day, or in a day, or whenever you write?
It's usually around 1 to 3,000. I'm guessing.
Wow.
It really depends also on my mood and like the tasks I have to finish. But I usually finish around 3 chapters every day
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
when I was writing.
That was what you did with your novel. I mean, meaning
Right.
maybe when you're in the mood and you just sit on it, and then um sit down on it, and then it's ideas just flow, and then you just start writing.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. Yeah.
uh, in Filipino, we have this phrase "sana all." So I wish that many of us could be like you.
You.
Just we'd be able to write whenever we wanted. I mean, even if we had the time, sometimes ideas don't just flow freely. Now, tell us more about the protagonists. Like, what are their characteristics, passions, abilities, maybe.
Well, the three main protagonists in my book are Carter Nordom, Arabella Brown, of course, and Spencer Auclair. So let's start with Carter Nordom. So physically, he's very attractive. I mean, in my own head, he's very attractive. Tall, blonde hair, beautiful eyes. I think Carter is an old soul. He approaches love in the classic way. He's very romantic. He loves to surprise, the people he loves, and he has his career very straight. He knows what he wants in life. He's very straight to the point with his life and things like that. Arabella naman, she's half Filipino actually, half American, and I guess I can say she's more of the serious type. Arabella's more of the serious type. She's kind of a rebel also. She doesn't want to live the life that her family planned out for her. She kind of wants to, be young and fall in love and get into university and all that. And Spencer, I think you can say he's the opposite of Carter because he's more energetic, more funny, and more lighthearted. His character is very modern, like the modern teenage boy, like the boy next door and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that sums up all the three characters.
How did you like fashion these characters? Like, were they inspired by characters you've read, or people maybe?
Well, so like for Arabella's characters, she has some characteristics that I have. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's kind of hard to write about someone who you're not really familiar with, and I know myself the best. So she has some characteristics that I have. For Carter and Spencer, not really. Based off
Mm-hmm.
my ideal types. They're based off my ideal types.
Everybody loves a romance story. So, what trope does this story represent, especially involving those three characters? Like, is it a love triangle? Is it like a enemy turns to lovers type of thing?
um, I think it's a love triangle.
Mm-hmm.
They none of them were enemies. I think the love just flowed naturally for them. So it is a love triangle. Yes.
And we love rivalries. That's the exciting part about love triangle, the rivalry between two guys. Okay.
Yes.
What makes Arabella and Carter the ideal romantic pair?
Well, this might sound very like cliche, but they bring out the best in each other. Arabella's weakness is Carter's strength, and vice versa. They
Mm-hmm.
uplift each other. I think their love is very natural. Like when they see each other, it's boom. Like I love you. I love you, my
Sparks.
protagonist. It's fun. It's very lighthearted. Their romance. Yeah.
That's not cliche at all. I mean that's something that we can write in our I don't know, in our journals. I'd like to meet my Arabella or Carter one
Yeah.
day. Someone who brings out the best in us. Not cliche at all. Okay, so I also read in the blurb that this novel is about first loves. What's your take about first love?
Oh
Is this
gosh.
something worth
First,
risking for, or is it something worth rekindling? For example, there are stories that are like about first loves, and but time they separated them, then they meet again, and then I mean, what's your philosophy behind this?
well, I'm still very young, so I've
Mhm.
only experienced the first love yet, like so far. So first love for me is the butterflies in your stomach, it's the kilig feeling. It's the you can't wipe away your smile vibe. To me, first love is not always your greatest love. And I think if it is your greatest love for you, then it is something worth risking for and
Mhm.
rekindling. But sometimes what's best for me is to leave the first love in the past, because if there's a first, there's a second, there's a third, there's a fourth. You never know. You never know really what will come into your life. So just base it off your initial feeling. If you think it's the greatest love, then of course it's something that's worth rekindling.
Mhm. And enjoy the experience, maybe enjoy the
Enjoy
moment.
it. Yes, it's when you have your first love, it's the memories that you will remember, for sure. So make sure they're all good memories.
There's this song by a local artist. I remember the boy, but I don't remember the feeling anymore. It makes me think of first loves, right? Maybe you remember your first love, but it's not the same feeling. But on
Yeah.
the other hand, there are first loves that really make you kilig until, I don't know, for years. You still remember
Yes.
the feeling. Yeah.
Yes.
And this story is also set against the backdrop of family business, and stories like this often juxtapose romantic relationships with filial piety, like me or your dad or something like that. Is there a reason why you made these, or you chose these major plot points?
Well, I think when you fall in love, there's always going to be someone who doesn't support that love. And I feel like in modern times, a lot of that, like, not supportiveness comes from the parents also. I mean, you can still respect their decisions, but they feel like there's always something better for you out there. So I feel like by adding that aspect, it makes the love more relatable in a way, because it's kind of different from, a love that is broken because the one person in the relationship cheated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different between choosing between two people you love, but it's like a different level of love. It's harder, I think, for me to choose, like, the boy I love or my family. Like, it's super hard to choose, so it makes it more relatable, I think.
It adds to the tension, because you can't, like you said, you can't just easily choose, especially if, for example, the family or the parent is after your welfare,
Yes.
and you just have to set some things aside, set your passions aside. Okay, but
Yes.
this is completely different from say the story of Romeo and Juliet, not that kind of thing. No,
No,
not that
it's
kind.
not.
Okay,
No.
totally different. Okay.
Yes.
but we love tension. If there's no tension, it would be interesting. So
Yes,
we'll see
agree,
what
agree.
happens with Arabella and her dad and Carter. Now,
Yeah.
there's also one interesting thing I read from the blurb. Falling in love should be easy. Do you share this belief with Arabella, or I mean, do you share that belief also?
Personally, yes, I do. I mean, I've I've experienced love at first sight. And I think falling in love is easy because love is love. You can't manipulate love no matter how hard you try to deny it. It's just gonna be there. So it is easy. I mean, you can fall in love with whoever you want to fall in love with, really. So it should be easy. Love should be a happy thing, not a sad thing. So, so yes,
But
I agree.
what makes people struggle in love if it's easy?
I guess maybe if people struggle, then like I said before, it's not their greatest love. You can love someone but still have misconceptions with them. You know, it could be like clashing of personal values or other factors that affect it. So yeah, love is easy. It's just there's a hardship in every situation you go through. So yeah.
Do we also see that kind of clashing between Arabella and Carter, or is it really just the relationship versus whatever problem there is involving Arabella's family?
There is a clash, but it's a
Mhm.
spoiler, so I won't say
Okay.
now.
No
Yeah,
spoilers. Okay.
no
Now let's
spoilers.
talk about your writing process. At least we know that there's something that needs to be unraveled by the readers. Okay, again, let's talk about the writing process. What was your structure? Did you use any template here, like say Act One, Act Two, Act Three? You know, because this is
Well,
a novel.
Yeah, it is. Well, like I said, the first three chapters, I just jotted them down from my head. I just put them all out. And then when I started getting serious about writing the story, I created a novel outline with like the topics of the different chapters. And that helped me like organize my thoughts more. But there are some chapters now, oh, this is too short. So I'll just write from my head and just jot down whatever. I think I'm a mix of both. Yeah.
A mix of planner and a pantser.
Yes. A
It would be
mix is
nice to have that balance,
yeah.
Um, in terms of revising, for example, because you already have, say, you had the plan and you wrote the chapters already, did it ever happen to you na, oh, I need to change this entire chapter because it doesn't really fit into the story anymore, or something that you envisioned in the past, but because you're publishing it or maybe circumstances change and you had to also scrap it from the original plan
Yes, actually, when I
manuscript?
worked with my editor, she gave me a lot of feedback. She's older than me, so of course she has like a bigger view on world issues and love. So she gave me a lot of feedback. Actually, I had a difficult time with one whole plot twist in my book. I
Mm-hmm.
had to change it completely, and it took me, I think, a week and a half because I really didn't know how to change it at first. Buti na lang she guided me, and then we were both happy with the outcome at the end.
At least you're not aversive to revisions, because it's really difficult. It's tough because this is your baby.
Yes.
Writers sometimes, especially if they're first time writers, it's difficult for them to kill their darlings, as we call it.
Yeah.
So how was that experience for you? I mean, did you like mull over it, or parang it was okay, I'm cool with it, I'm cool with deleting this part of the story or changing this element?
Well, at first, when I got my editor's advice, I was like, oh, what? I have to change it. I really like this. Like, it was like a major plot twist that I was feeling so confident with. And then I read her messages again. And then I was like, you know what? She's right. Like, I agree with everything she said. I think the hard time for me was writing it in connection with the rest of the novel because it has to flow properly. That I think that was the challenge when writing this novel.
That's really understandable, because but I'm glad that you're receptive to feedback, right? Because like I said, it's many writers find it difficult to remove something, especially if it's their baby. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad that you have that wisdom also. Now, please share an unforgettable experience while you were writing your novel. Like, did you
Actually,
do
I
like
have
for this? Mm-hmm.
Actually, I have a story when I was writing. So it's actually my favorite chapter in my novel. And when I finished it, like when I finish writing a chapter, I'll reread it again to make sure it's what I want on paper. So when I reread it, I completely forgot that I wrote it, and I got so kilig. I was like jumping in my room and I was listening to happy songs, and then I wrote it pala. I was so happy with that chapter. I think that was like the time when I realized that I think people will enjoy the story because I felt like it was a really good story at that point.
Actually, it's a good technique also. Like when you read or reread your work, and you read it as a reader, you don't read it as a writer. I mean, we have different lenses for that. So
Yeah,
you're correct. Yeah, it's one of the ways in which we can tell if this is something that's marketable. You know, if this will be liked by readers your age also. Okay, now
yeah.
what would you consider as your strength and your weakness in writing?
Well,
In romance writing.
well, in this specific type of romance, the characters are very young, and the problems they're facing in this novel are actually the problems I was facing when I was writing the novel. So I
Mm.
think the emotion behind the challenges was there because I was facing it at the same time, like first loves and struggles with school and expectations and all that. So I think being young was like my greatest advantage when I was writing because like my audience, which is young adults, would like really relate to the story and the emotions that are portrayed in the story.
Although the weakness is I mean, would you say that experiencing these things is also the challenge, the main challenge here,
The main challenge of the novel or
or
when
of
writing.
writing romance?
Um well, for me, like with my experience, it was a strength, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because it's what brought out the emotions in my novel. So yeah, I think I would say it was a strength when
Mm-hmm.
writing.
And what's the Waterloo? What's the weakness?
I think it was my time management.
Mm.
Super hard
You had
to.
time management issues that you're able to write something like this,
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
while you were studying.
the time management came in when my editor gave a lot of revisions. Not
Mm.
necessarily when I was initially writing the book, but when my editor gave a lot of revisions, time management super. And I think also like when I was rereading a lot of the stories to like my parents or people who are older than me, they would say this is not like ideal. Like it would be
Mm-hmm.
wrong, like morally wrong to put this in the book. So
All
I had to
right.
change it, even though I was like super proud of those things.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's also why beta reading is important. Like when you show your work to other
Yeah.
people, we get their we get their ideas. So because there are things that we don't really um notice while we're
Yeah.
writing, and where we get so excited. And so yeah, it's really nice to know, no, that you have this support group, your aside from your parents and your editors. Did you ask your friends to read this also? I mean, did you have
Yes.
like better readers?
Actually, aside from my parents and my editor, only five people outside of my
Mm.
family knew I was writing, and they were also supportive. I'd read to them some chapters, and they'd be listening through the screen through Zoom. So yeah,
Wow,
I'm very lucky I had like a support group.
very good. I mean, all of the elements that all of the things that writers do, you've done already. Really, really proud of what you have done so far. Admirable. Now, um, for my last question before we proceed to the read aloud session, any tips for aspiring romance novelists who want to start early, like you, like young adult writers, maybe?
I think the biggest tip is don't wait till you're older. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you can do it now because you never know when the opportunity is going to come knocking again. And also, I think the biggest learning I had that I can share is never think your work is bad because it might be the worst thing you think you've written, but to someone reading it, it might be the best thing they've ever read. So never think your work is bad. If there's a tiny spark of this is a good piece, then
Mm.
put it out there. It's worth the wait, I think, and the exhaustion to do it. If you
Somebody
do it,
will read your work. Somebody will like your work. Okay.
there's always gonna be someone who doesn't like it and someone who likes it. So might
Yes.
as well just make it for the people who will like it.
Wow. Words of wisdom from someone really young. A lot of people would love to hear that. Okay. That's something that many writers struggle with also, like will people like my work, or am I too
Yeah,
young to write something like this? Thank you for sharing that. Okay, now if could you please read an excerpt for us? Your favorite paragraph maybe, or something that's really kilig inducing.
sure. Okay, so this is actually just like a paragraph from the first chapter that was super killing when I wrote it. Okay, so I'll read it. Dom Perignon, please, I said to the bartender when I reached the counter. There she is, looking breathtaking as always, the blond boy said, sliding down in the seat next to me. He took my hand and placed a feathery kiss on top of it, and as he did, I took note of the Patek Philippe on his wrist, the watch his father gave him on his 17th birthday. He was by far the most handsome boy I had ever laid my eyes on, his electric blue eyes and plump lips compelling. Unlike my father's feelings for Prescott Nordom, my feelings for Prescott Nordom's son were anything but hatred. Carter Nordom, I said, acknowledging the boy as I retracted my hand. Always an honor. That's my favorite in the early
I
chapter.
heard Perignon. I heard Perignon, and not all teens know Perignon. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Arabella. Arabella, I called you Arabella. My goodness. Thank you so much, Marga. Um, just to before just to close off the interview session. Okay, before we invite our viewers, um, what should what should our viewers and readers look forward to in It Was a Pleasure to Be Yours?
I think the thrill, honestly, I think the thrill and the killingness and the emotions behind the words in this book. I think it's a very feel good book,
Yeah.
honestly. Yes.
And we need that in these times. We need the
Yeah. Yeah.
feel good factor in these times. Like I said, everybody loves a love story. Everybody loves romance, especially if it's well written, like your book. So, okay, please invite our viewers. Where can we find that? Do we have a paperback format or ebook format, and how much?
Yes, well, for now, we only have paperback and it's 375 per copy. Um, you can actually, right now, we're just accepting pre orders. You can pre order from me or when it comes out in 8 letters in the bookstores. So, yeah, that's where you can find the book. And you can reach me on Instagram at Marga Montserrat or Facebook, Marga Montserrat also. So, yeah,
I forgot to ask how much. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
it's 375 po.
307.
Yeah.
Get it. I'm gonna get a copy. I love the cover. Who designed the cover?
8 letters. They
Oh
actually done.
wow.
Yes. I
I
gave my
love the plum.
gave
I
my
love the plum.
visions and then they did their magic. So very happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, this reminds me of those YA books I see in bookstores. Don't mention titles, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Those international titles. So this is
Yes.
made within international standards. Really, really proud. I love this book. I'm gonna get a copy. Okay.
Thank you, Miss
Chica,
Chris.
please reserve me a copy of this. Okay. thank you so much,
Thank
Arabella.
you.
I'm sure our viewers are also thrilled to grab a copy of It Was a Pleasure to Be Yours. And I am looking forward to your next book. Not to put pressure on you, but I know that you're prolific. So if there's a part two, or if there's something in the works, we'd be happy to know more about it also. Would you like to share also where our viewers can reach you, like social media handles? Do
Yes,
you have a
well,
page? Do you have a page?
I have Instagram at Marga
Mhm.
Montserrat. The spelling of Montserrat is here. A lot of people get it messed up. But yes, at Marga Montserrat and Facebook too. You can just message me on any of those platforms.
Okay. Please do visit Marga's I what's that? Was that the
Instagram.
Facebook, Instagram? Okay, Marga's Instagram, and maybe once you have your book, you can chat with her. Like leave her a review. Also, that would
Yes,
be nice.
please.
Yeah, that would be appreciated. If
Yes.
you give reviews. Okay, thank you so much, Marga. It's
Thank
lovely
you,
to
Miss
have you here.
Grace.
Lovely to meet you. Okay, and to everyone who's watching right now, Odie, and I think I saw, was it Bernadette? Okay, Bettina, sorry, Bettina Sidilia. Hi, hello. Please share also this broadcast. Please share so that everybody else can know more about Margot's book. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. I don't know when's the next Eight Letters Live, but we'll see you next time. Please support local, support Margot's book, support Eight Letters.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye, Marga.
Bye.
Bye.